Hi there, I'm back.
Oh, thank goodness, we all missed you terribly.
This first one is going to be as a short one as to why I am not a liberal feminist and instead I choose to be a radical feminist.
You choose to be a radical feminist. That's quite the statement and not something a lot of people would choose to admit. Generally, they demand they're regular feminists while being radical feminists. I guess then I have a grudging respect for you.
For the longest time, I always kind of had my suspicions about liberal feminism.
About how generally it's achieved nothing except the segregation between men and women. And now it's in its third wave, the segregation between white people and minorities.
And before I figured out that female erasure was the root cause of these problems I had with it.
Female erasure? Are you kidding me? Women have become more and more included in every aspect of the civilized world for years. In what way is there female erasure? The only erasure that I see is of general femininity, where they're being replaced by the look of general hairy bikers, and the men caught in their orbit tending to look more like women.
Here's a list of reasons why I never really liked third wave liberal feminism.
I could come up with a very, very long list of what made you leave, but I'd be very interested to hear what pushed you into the clutches of radical feminism.
Number 1, there is no solidarity in it.
I imagine because in general, non-radical feminism is so vast, it's impossible to form an echo chamber. The kind of echo chamber that breeds radical ideas. So the lack of solidarity, simply having feminism as it wasn't a bad thing and was a movement for equality.
Number 2, there are no clear-cut issues that they want to address.
Because there is no clear-cut issues left to address. Let me list you my 3 favourite sexist feminist claims. Domino's pizza boxes, fireworks, and architecture. I shit you not. Those are my favourite 3, but I'll link you to a list of the top 10.
And number 3, they were trying to take on too much at once.
You mean like pizza boxes and fireworks? That isn't even to mention the radical feminist article where they thought men should be kept like cattle and checked out like library books for the use of women. It kind of reminds me of that whole concept during World War II. No, but align yourselves with these people. You have the freedom to do that. Thanks to men.
As soon as I discovered that female erasure was the root cause of all these problems,
I would love to see some examples of female erasure. If you look at graphs of female participation in almost any field today, you'll see there's only been an increase. There's also been an increase in males in generally female-dominated fields, which I'm just as glad to see. So I'd love to know what you mean by female erasure. Because, I mean, females in general are just a little bit vital to the survival of our entire species. And as simple as that species may be, still murdering one another over tribal god images, I'm still one of them, so I have a soft spot for them.
and when I discovered radical feminism, I found 3 things that were the exact opposite.
I assume by opposite you don't mean 3 things that actually make sense.
Number 1, there is solidarity.
Nothing like that groupthink mentality echo chamber. You know, along the lines of the ones that formed the KKK and the BLM.
Number 2, there are concise, clear-cut issues that we do want to address.
Slightly more serious than pizza boxes and fireworks, I hope.
And female erasure is the biggest one.
I've yet to see examples of female erasure. I'm serious, I'd be open to hearing arguments that attempt to prove female erasure is actually a thing. If you could provide me that argument, then I'll listen to it.
Number 3, we are not trying to take on too much at once.
So, apart from that one thing, what else are you trying to take on? Or, by not taking on too much, do you mean only that one thing?
These are all things that we as females, regardless of your race, sexual orientation, class, whatever, can all take on if we just unite as women.
So men can't help, even your beta male subjects. They can't unite as women, so they may as well go home and buy sex dolls. It's the only action that you'll ever see, lads.
I think that incident over at the Canadian library, as well as what happened at that British clinic and the Women's March here in America.
I'm familiar with the women's marches in America and the debris it left behind, but the other two examples I'm not too familiar with. I just wish, for once, a feminist would leave links in their description about the events they refer to.
Are all things that are slowly waking our sisters up.
There are plenty of female anti-feminists out there. Hopefully some of the female feminists will wake up and realise how hypocritical the movement has become.
But like my sister Terry Strange likes to say on here, that it has to be an organic awakening.
Well, that's certainly an interesting choice of words. Don't get me wrong or anything, I'm not berating you, it's certainly original. But yeah, don't get me wrong, I agree with the sentiment. Feminism advocates that women are just as capable as men in the mind, and I agree with that. So let's present them with the facts, or let them observe the world around them and see what they make of it. And see if any of those young ladies choose to follow in your footsteps and become radical feminists.
More things like this are going to happen. Mark my words. It's going to happen.
What? What's going to happen? Your sister's going to say more words? Well, yeah, I guess that will happen.
More of our sisters are going to say, hey, wait a minute, what's all this about?
Yeah, this radical feminist nonsense? What about it? I don't particularly want anything to do with it.
And when that day comes, we will rise up like the Amazons we are, and we will take back what is ours.
How exactly are you Amazons? Isn't that cultural appropriation of women from the Amazon? Or further yet, racism to suggest that they're more violent?
See you later.
I certainly hope not. Well, I have to admit, this is one of the most calm, radical feminists I've ever seen in my entire life. Which begs the question, what would turn you into a radical anti-feminist? I'll put the answers that make me laugh the most at the end of my next video, and as always, thank you for your time.